So with that, roll call has gone around, and I believe that has been signed by all. So at this point, I'm looking to turn on microphones, my apology. Call to order the Brainerd Commissioners HRA meeting, September 24th. Roll call has gone around. Looking for a approval of the agenda. Motion to do that for today's meeting, September 24th.
So move, Yeager.
Is there a second?
Second, Grasula.
Okay, we have motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion passes. We are now moving on to the public hearing. We have before us the adoption request of a resolution approving the annual plan for including capital dollars for the HRA. So at this point in time, I'm going to open the public hearing at 12:01 and ask if there's anyone here to speak on the annual plan and the 5-year action plan. And Max, is there anyone online? Thank you. I'll call again. Is there anyone here to speak on the annual plan and the 5-year action plan? And last call, anyone to speak on the annual plan and the 5-year action plan? So with that being done, I'm going to close the public hearing at 12:01. Move that back for discussion and staff presentation. And so, Hannah, I believe that is yours, correct?
Yes, thank you, Chair Duval. So we are required to submit an annual plan, including capital fund dollars, every fiscal year to HUD. And the capital fund dollars is our 5-year action plan. That is our capital needs improvement plan for the next 5 years. And we can prioritize anything that's listed on the attachment anytime during the 26th fiscal year. We did post the public hearing notice in the Brainerd Dispatch on August 9th, which was 45 days prior to the public hearing today. And we did not receive any written comments regarding the plan. So I will open it to any questions from commissioners.
Questions of staff on the annual plan? One question I had, and this is on the capital plan itself. The table lists as the project North Star, yet it itemizes all of our managed properties. And I'm curious, and that's been our practice, so I'm curious as to whether we would want to be adding to that scattered sites as well, or does that limit us in any way on how we're presenting how we'd spend the capital plan? Ms. Young, do you have guidance on that, or Hannah, do you have guidance on that, please?
Yeah, I'd defer to Karen.
Okay, I can sure jump in. With HUD, since we're a small PHA, we have 1 amp. And so all of our 203 public housing units are in one grouping for HUD. And so they've titled it North Star. That comes up. But in fact, it is all of our public housing units included in this 5-year action plan. So that's HUD's designation,
HUD
but it
structure.
is all of our Valley Trail units, our scattered site units, and then the North Star.
Thank you. So it's an organizational thing that HUD uses to bundle, and they just took the name of North Star as the name of that bundle. That's very helpful. Thank you. Any other questions of staff? Hearing none, I would look for a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-06 and approve the annual plan and the 5-year action plan.
I'll make that motion to adopt the resolution, approve the annual plan and 5-year action plan as presented.
Commissioner Vokota, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Yeager, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll move to roll call. Ms. Young, could you call roll on that, please?
Verkota,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
Duval,
Yes.
Grasula,
Yes.
and Decker.
Yes.
Righty, that motion passes and that resolution is hereby adopted. So at this point, we are moving on to item number 5 on the agenda, approval of the minutes. I'm looking for a motion. Well, before that, I did want to say that I did not motion to adjourn as the chair. I think I called for that motion, and I think our consensus is it was probably Mr. Erickson that made the motion to adjourn. If we could amend the minutes as such, And with that, I'd be looking for approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting on August 27th with the indicated amendment.
Yeah, motion to approve with amended motion.
Is there a second?
Second, Ursula.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, that motion carries. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, we have none. We have item number 8 going to staff reports, bills, and communications. So our first one up is the financial report. Karen, I believe that is your item.
It is. My memo starts on page 29, attachment 3 of our packet. So I did want to let the board know that reflected in our August financials, we did receive our remaining proceeds from the sale of Trail Ridge Townhomes. We had a 30% ownership interest in that, so we did receive an additional $59,495. That totals $233,786 that we did receive. That will sit in our general fund balance. We have that at this time assigned by staff for ideally replacement housing. So it will sit in our fund balance for our general fund. We have our ratios for our public housing. We have, I guess if HUD came in and did a glance at our public housing financials at the end of August, on page 31, we have our ratios. Everything looks good there. The only points that we don't have max points on would be right in the middle. Our tenant accounts receivable will come before the board at the end of the year to write off any outstanding balances past our policy. Are there any questions at all regarding our financials?
So we get half point for that right now?
Correct. 2 out of 5.
Yeah, oh, baby.
Better than the 0. So
Yes. I was hoping that would be the case. Trail Ridge, we had, I think the number was 17 affordable housing units in that. Is that
That
the
was
number?
18.
18. 18. So we're looking to try and reestablish an interest in 18 units here to replace what we lost with the sale of Trail Ridge, which was not our initiative to divest of that property. But that puts us in the place where we now have assigned, is the right term, the balance that we receive from the sale of that to be able to then create 18 affordable housing unit opportunities in the community of Brainerd. So, any questions of staff on that report? Otherwise, I'll be looking for a motion for approval of payments as presented.
So move, Yeager.
Is there a second?
Second, Ursula.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We are now on to HCV report. Mallory is currently at the Narrow Conference training, and so with that, Karen, you'll be taking that item?
correct.
Thank you.
I will. That memo's on page 51 of our packet. So Mallory's update for our federal Housing Choice Voucher Program through the end of August, our unit months leased was at just over 65%. That means that when we look at all of our available vouchers for the entire year through the end of August, we're at just over 65% leased. So we're almost on target for that through this part of the year. As far as our HAP utilization, which is through August, how much money have we spent out of our authorized budget authority for the year? We're tracking ahead of that. We're at 73.7% of our budget authority. We've mentioned to the board that we currently are having shortfall prevention calls with our HUD reps. As we track our spending, we believe just by attrition and the vouchers that are falling off, we're not putting any new people on at this time. we believe will likely work our way out of shortfall. We wouldn't have gone into shortfall until December. And it's looking like we'll likely work our way out of that. We are disappointed. We did apply for additional set-aside funding for, I think it was unforeseen circumstances. Because our per unit costs are higher this year than what we had planned on, we were eligible to apply for additional funding, but it now sounds like they aren't going to release that funding until they finalize the shortfall funding. And we're just not going to get any funding in time to actually spend more dollars this year, it looks like, so that's disappointing. So this just means, last year we had leveled off and we were just perfect. We had no peaks and valleys. We're just perfect. And now because of shortfall, they're not letting us put anyone on. So now we're, just having, participants fall off. So now, as Mallory mentioned, we're going to start notifying towards the end of the year, but then we're just going to have to try to get back up again, get our numbers up. So Mallory did put in her report regarding Bring It Home. She's at the NARO conference. There are Bring It Home sessions at the conference, and that's our state rental assistance program that we've been awarded funds for. So she is at training for that this week, along with our federal voucher program trainings as well. Our due diligence information for Bring It Home is due October 15th. I believe once we, get all of that submitted, as soon as we can get a signed contract with the state, we can hire for the position and, get going on notifying participants for that program. It looks like we'll have between 36 to 49 vouchers. The state didn't assign us a specific amount of vouchers. They award us the funding, and then, we lease and collect admin on however that calculates. They didn't tell us an exact amount of vouchers like our federal program. Our Bridges program, we have currently 12 vouchers leased, one in Cass County, one in Aiken, and the rest in Crow Wing. FSS, we have 48 active participants, 28 are escrowing, and then Carrie did put in a note that we assisted one FSS household with car repairs. We gave a disbursement of $660, and then we had 3 FSS participants graduate, and so we dispersed just over $13,000 to those 3 participants for going off the program or having met their goals, and were eligible for their remaining escrow balances. Any questions on voucher or Bring It Home?
Questions of staff? All right, we have none. Thank you, Karen, for that report. We are now moving to housing management report. That would be Ms. Gangle.
Thank you. My report is on the screen and on page 53 in the packet. Our vacancy report is attached, and Valley View Townhomes is again sitting at 100% occupancy, with 24 sitting on the waiting list. Couple Ross program updates. We have 20 active participants in that program. We did 8 contacts with enrolled participants, 29 contacts with non-enrolled. So we're really trying to get those numbers up by the end of the year. We distributed 27 CSFP food boxes. We closed out the fiscal year 21 Ross grant and submitted that report to HUD. And then Patsy is working on a group activity event to promote positive mental and physical health habits with those participants. Little soundbite of success, with a number of senior residents worried about their grocery costs. Last month, Patsy had brought along applications for the food box program and had 3 new signups. So that was exciting to us because we haven't seen a lot of traction this year with that. So very good news. You'll see the vacancy report, like I mentioned earlier, attached. And then Couple updates on the performance report. We did have one vacant unit at North Star during August, which has already been leased up as of September 2nd. We placed 7 applications on the waiting list. And that is mostly everything on that. So I'd open up to any questions.
Thank you. Hannah, questions to staff on that report? Hearing none. Thank you again, and we'd be looking to move on now to rehab and maintenance. John is equally engaged at the NARO, so Karen, you'll be taking this?
I sure can.
Thank you.
That memo's on page 57 of the packet. John and Brett attended a deed implementation training last week. That was for new or existing grant administrators regarding our small cities application that we are awaiting funding on. That application was for $600,000 for the Washington Street 210 project for lighting. And so we're anxiously awaiting to see if we get funded for that. And then John has his update on the projects that are in the works. In Brainerd, we have one Crow Wing County Housing Trust Fund project going, and 2 Minnesota Housing Loan projects going, 1 Small Cities, for a total of 4 projects in the city of Brainerd. Are there any questions that I guess Britt or I could answer?
Questions of staff? All righty, none. Thank you very much, Karen, on that report. We are moving on to item 8E. This is the Executive Director report. In his absence, Karen, can you provide that report to us?
I can. That is on page 59 of our packet. So Eric did send a letter to the Brainerd EDA regarding the Wright Street Extension properties. We wanted to express our interest to the EDA. The EDA was in the process of renewing the listing with Camp Real Estate Company, and so the HRA wanted to put a request into the EDA that we would like, I guess, basically access to those parcels if we were to secure a developer. Staff have been meeting with a developer regarding interest in those properties. They are interested in doing a tax credit housing project. They do have their architects actually, putting together a plan for that. Kevin, I don't know if you have anything else to add on the EDAs?
Not really, not much to add, just, so I think you've kind of summed it up there, but what I will say is that kind of the talking point for the EDA was as well, the Wright Street extension is an okay fit for housing, but it's not fantastic. It's something that I think we would be open to, or the EDA expressed an openness to explore, but really we're not particularly fond of the idea of putting housing in an area that is zoned for other uses, which we think might be a better fit, more industrial or commercial type uses. So it can work, and that's one of the reasons why we've asked for Jennifer Haskamp to kind of look at the contract of, we would still like her to be actively pursuing, trying to find us developers or a purchaser that will potentially go the direction of more of a commercial type use down there. But we could also see that if this flourishes and takes flight, that we could see some housing going down there as well. So I think the EDA, if I could sum it up, I would say that they're lukewarm about it. It's going to be kind of one of those scenarios where whatever kind of comes first is probably what we're going to try to get behind. And I think that'd be my assessment as the liaison of where the parties are sitting here. So if that helps kind of give an idea of the feel of what we're after. And I think the feedback was from Jennifer that she was going to be able to craft a scenario in which if we go the direction of housing, that she would not have a fee on there, a seller's fee, as our representing agent, real estate agent down there. So yeah, if that helps.
And am I able to add anything?
Oh, please. Yes. By all means, yes.
I just know from a staff perspective, a big catalyst for us pursuing Wright Street, which is in our strategic plan, was also the EDA has a concept out there on their website for those sites.
Absolutely.
So that I know was a big reason for staff to look at available land within our city that we could possibly secure and get site control
Yep.
within our budget.
Yep.
So, yeah. And then our levy discussion.
If I may, before we move on to that, so, Mr. Yeager, with your knowledge of the EDA, the letter from Director Charpentier provided, I guess, a framework for how we might request that and how it might be withdrawn and purchase prices and things like that. And is that sort of the framework that's under consideration in the negotiation?
That's absolutely, that's exactly under consideration. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, please proceed, Karen. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
And Eric did go before council on September 2nd, presenting our 2026 general fund budget and levy request. That was actually tabled by council. They requested more information regarding our fund balance. Eric provided responses back to council that are included in this packet. And then the levy request went back before council again, September 15th. And after that presentation, council did unanimously approve our preliminary levy request at our maximum amount.
Yeah, and I can add to that. Just first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Charpentier as well as you, Karen, for helping me prepare for that meeting. We, like a lot of meetings, you don't necessarily know what you're going to be challenged upon or what you're going to be asked. So there was a fair amount of preparation that went into putting that presentation in such a state that I felt that it would be well received by fellow council members. This will be our first time within the last 3 years that will hypothetically receive our full ask or our for the HRA, so that's big news. But I also will say that comes with a certain burden, and a pendulum will swing back to us as the responsibility, as I will be sitting on this dais a year from now, hopefully explaining why they made the right decision a year ago. So, I'm going to encourage the HRA as a team and all of its members to understand that with what I expect to be a vote on the 29th, fully supporting that first budget request, I do anticipate that to go through. But what I really want to say is that's we have work to do in through this next year, and I think the council's going to be looking at us to say to show good faith and taking that step with us. And so I'm hoping that a year from now we can come back and really prove that we did the right thing for them. So that's where I'm at. So it's exciting. Good.
I could give one more update.
Please.
Staff did go before our Crow Wing County Commissioners regarding the Crow Wing County HRA levy request for next year. The county board did approve funding the full operating request for the trust fund, but then did pass a resolution with zero funding for the housing trust fund for next year.
Okay, questions of staff on anything that's been presented here for the executive director report?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Fakota.
How much is in that trust fund? So what were they giving annually, and then kind of where does that sit? I guess it seems like we collaborate there with the trust fund sometimes on projects. I too would like to see another project if the council also wants to, so. Where does that sit, I guess? Where does that leave us with them not funding that?
Sure, we did the last 4 years, we've received 400,000 into the trust fund without funding for next year. As it stands right now with our loans that have been awarded and our loan queue, we are gonna supplement our housing trust fund dollars with some Crow Wing County revolving loan funds, we would have enough to fund our current projects
Okay.
with supplementing other loan funds.
So not much there, any there. to
Correct.
do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? All right, hearing none, we're moving on to agenda item number 9, Commissioner comments. Mr. Gasula, may I start with you?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Ms. Decker?
Just residents wondering when we're going to get a permanent housekeeper.
And I can speak to that. We actually conducted interviews this week.
Okay, so it's moving forward.
It is moving forward.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Rakota?
I just want to say thank you to Kevin, Commissioner Kevin, on your work with the council and being a liaison and kind of keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
And to staff, truly, for that too. That really helps the cause. So thank you to all.
Thank you. Mr. Yeager?
Yeah, and again, I just want to say thank you to staff for helping through this budget cycle, this budget season, and preparing all the documentation was extremely helpful. And Karen, especially the time we spent prior to the meetings, highly beneficial to that. And thank you. So that's all.
Very good, thank you. And I would simply reiterate the appreciation for your leadership role in building consensus around the preliminary levy approval, and I look forward to favorable passage of that recommendation at next Monday's meeting.
Yep.
So with that, our next meeting will be October 22nd. In chambers here, and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Ursula.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. And Nick,